up the ground. We've seen Pavlich run back with the space. We've seen Ballantyne do the same. The Eagles just have got to start getting the ball with some more purpose into some forwards, one out so they can take grabs.
Underway then in the second quarter. The Eagles begin at 15 points behind. Main, frenetic stuff. Ibbotson, he's back, interesting call. Looks in quickly. Now Pavlich is deep one-on-one. Schofield stayed in front of the next line, which meant that Pavlich could work to the advantage. His support crew was led by De Boer. Now he's gone to ground, De Boer. There's a time when that might have meant he was in trouble, but not on this occasion.
Just lacked a little bit of ground support there, Matthew Pavlich. I think he should have kept on leading rather than try to fight, because there were 3 Eagles surrounding him. Nevertheless, they got it in the dangerous spot.
It was an interesting call by Schofield as the spare to stay 15 or 20 ahead of Pavlich and not go back and help.
He saw De Boer breaking back towards goals, and he re-engaged, but a strange decision nonetheless.
Mundy back to the square. Shuey there for West Coast. Main a threat. Shuey, was that okay? It was. Crowley. Prudis gets it through to Kerr. They run the gauntlet and they run it pretty well. Waters was helping out. Oh, lucky for him, he didn't make contact there, De Boer. That was
He could be in a bit of trouble here, boys.
I'm not sure that he actually connected, did he?
Yeah, a little bit high.
Okay, yeah. In fact, it almost became a kick more than a trip. I know it wasn't.
Hard to mount a case to get off that one, Jared, I'd imagine.
So Kerr. Deep for Selwood.
Interesting battle, Selwood versus Nate Fife, who was so brilliant in the opening quarter last week against Port Adelaide, but at the moment hasn't been able to lay a glove on it.
McFarlane. Little sharp. Darling is a threat, there's no doubt.
It was a good call from the umpire, no intent. McFarlane, all he wanted to do was just get Darling under the ball, and he did so.
You just feel the Eagles have got so much upside at the moment. No influence from Cox, Nat Nui, Hearn. Darling's been well clamped, Shuey. There's scope for improvement everywhere here.
Ibbotson with a contested grab at half-back. Peers into the middle, doesn't see anything to his liking yet, so it's the conservative route down the line. Darling gets there for West Coast, so too McKenzie, and between them, the job is done. Kerr with 12 disposals for West Coast, Waters and Selwood with 8. A bit of an issue on the elbow there, which will be a worry for West Coast fans. Ibbotson, Griffin, Gaff, Shuey. Just the 3 disposals thus far. His 4th sends them to the 50. Lynch away from Dawson, who better get back on the mark. Time was up. Lynch. Hill's got the run from the side. Didn't quite judge it. Shuey. Spur. Rewarded for wonderful tackling. And this mature age recruit, 25-year-old Lee Spur, takes it across to McFarlane and then dabs to Pearce. Just delayed his kick and made sure that Hill was loose at half-back. This deadly dangerous left footer for Fremantle. Goes for Walters, who takes it.
It's 50.
He's played it smart, Jared. Walters, he's engaged Waters up the ground the last 3 or 4 occasions, just making himself available to be an option, and that's the game in a lot of ways.
Well, I think Ross Lyons played it smart in putting somebody on Waters. He was the highest possession winner behind only Daniel Kerr in the first quarter. He sets him up so well. He's laid it off for the long bomb.
And it comes from Clancy Pearce, who does know how to kick the footy, and he shows it again.
Well, that's a big start to the second quarter, and it all comes about because of this 50-metre penalty. And he just held on ever so minutely and copped the 50.
Big penalty.
Big penalty. Yeah, I think that one was probably just overkill.
And mentioned before, Jack Darling has just come off. He's in the hands of the trainer. That right elbow is getting strapped as we speak.
Any idea what it was, Jacko, or a bit hard to tell?
A bit hard to tell, but he is getting like a pad on it, so maybe a deep cork around the tricep muscle area.
Yep. Okay, scored 21 points. This is how it happened.
That Nui knee in the elbow.
They wrestle in the middle, down to Kerr again. Gets away out of the clamps, and Shepherd. Butler did the best he could. Gaff. Straight onto the left. McFarlane. Lynch. Help him from Spur again.
Well, he's a pretty good find, this bloke. He's too young to be calling a kid, but inexperienced player. But he knows where the ball is, and he has a crack.
Another Brad Lloyd special.
There's no doubt the pressure from Freo, I think, Kingy, is what's creating some problems here for the Eagles.
Pressure and their ability to get back to their defensive end and help out their back six is first class.
Mundy and Selwood with some authority. Adam Selwood gets it out of here.
You really see, Hutto and Jared, a one-on-one in their defensive end. There's always the extra number and help coming. So I think it's a credit to the work rate of these guys, particularly the midfield and the coaching.
And that's a crowded house there on the wing. Bradley. Atanui. Pearce. Mundy. Kerr. Up to 14 disposals. Bradley. Barlow. That's gone high and wide. And I think it might have, well, almost bounced inside the line. Not quite. Butler's footy then.
Must start outside the line. Sorry, that's all.
Well, at the moment, Ross Lyon is clearly not overly concerned about the numbers that Daniel Kerr is getting. He's going at 80% effective, so he's getting plenty of it and doing something with it. But it's not resulting in goals, as we know, and he's just as happy with Barlow getting 9 and Mundy, who hasn't had as much with 6, trying to create in the same position.
There's another pretty average kick coming out. Dawson away from Cox. The Eagles' tall forwards just not getting a clean run on it, as we said. 5 with a nice little sidestep. Pritis doing the things that Pritis does so well. There's that tackle count, 28-16. The mark of the desperation of Fremantle and what they've brought to the table this afternoon. They lead by 21 points. Griffin, Kerr, Gaff, Selwood, Brown, Shepherd takes the mark. Natanui's across the 50. Lynch is there as well. Hill. Hams has got himself a little cleared. McGinnity's down there, but any scope was vision was Hill. And Johnson earns himself the free.
He's had a great year doing this exact role. Today he's playing man-on-man more so than most other days because he has been up on Lynch, but in that position he was the floater and he floated well. That's
the difference, Jared. At the other end, we have Walters versus Waters and engaging that loose man.
Well, at the moment they've got Butler, who is the spare. They've rotated it to make sure that Butler becomes the free player. And the Dockers probably, with the capacity of the tall players, whether McFarlane or Johnson, can impact more on more contests. That's a poor kick.
And Mzungu handing it straight back to Pritis. Drills to half-forward Lynch. Didn't need the glove. In fact, just needed the one hand. And he can launch again. It was more a guide than anything.
Oh, that's 50, surely. No, he mustn't have hit him.
Important for Quinton Lynch's confidence. He's taken a couple of marks in the last 3 or 4 minutes to get himself into this game.
High ball to full forward. Crowley.
Hams is the risky one. No one wants to pick him up.
Ibbotson really came off second best from that contest. Pritis. Here is quick kick from Hams, but out on the full.
It's the value in that Nui. Everybody is so concerned about the big bloke jumping. There's 3 guys up. They nearly take the ground. He brings it to ground, and out she comes.
Measures the kick. Back for Crowley again.
It's fair dinkum what we're playing in the 1960s watching the Dockers today. They are only handballing when under enormous pressure.
Well, they turned that one over by foot, and Hill was there to capitalise. but couldn't kick the goal.
One handball for every 4 kicks. You don't see that all that often.
No, you don't. And I think that's the way with composure. They have become a marking side, a control side through the course of this year. They altered their style of play.
You've got to go and attack the ball. Michael Barlow should have a good look at that one. You can't wait.
Up to 10 disposals now, Barlow. This is looking a little ugly for Freo, though. Hams to Marston. Oh, again they miss.
But it is only a matter of holding back the time now. If the Dockers cannot penetrate this, goals will flow. 1-7.
There's an aggressive kick in, designed for Hill, who marks, has a quick glance. He had Ballantyne through the middle, decides to go to the wing to Main, draws some contact.
Just having a look at the different work rates from the midfield to get back to help. The Fremantle Dockers push back instantly to their back half. The Eagles not the same. There's plenty of space here for Pav.
And there it is. Was it a free? No. Pavlich still pleading. Waters hunted down again. Hill having an influence. Pavlich quick to recover and get back into the frame. Kicks it deep. Mzungu almost.
Great defensive spoil, and that has set up a genuine attempt to go all the way for goal.
Well, he started at gaff, and then he takes it out onto the wing with a bit of a bounce. And a wait. Marston calling for it on the wing, and eventually it gets into his lap, or was it just inside the chalk? So the margin is 19.
Really good composure from Gaff.
Into the middle for Kerr. Oh, it gave Main more than just a sniff. Let's see how much it hurts them. It opens up for Main. He's trying to contrive something out there with Ballantyne. Pavlich one-on-one with Waters. That should suit him. He's in front, and he can't mark. Full marks to Waters. It's not over yet, though. It's still up for grabs. Oh, Barlow stole the march and just couldn't quite convert. That was outstanding play by Barlow. Look at the commitment. It's on display here at Patersons Stadium. Fremantle out to a 20-point lead in Derby number 36. Fremantle crowd urging on their stars. Mundy's got to go against Hearn from the kick-in, and it's over and out.
He's the challenge, Jared. What do you do with Shannon Hearn to get him into the game? Just 2 disposals at this stage. He, to me, looks like the one who appears lost out there at the moment.
Well, he's been having a tough 5 or 6 weeks. Everybody has isolated him. The other bloke they need firing is Dean Cox. He came in with an injury. He's getting his hand on the ball in the ruck, not getting those disposals around the ground. Just 1 possession today.
5 misfires. You got something for us, Jacko?
Just official word from the ground manager. It is a sellout, so they've closed the gates. No more people allowed in, boys.
All right, Fife takes the mark, 60 from goal. Pavlich a hard lead, and it is on it in style. That's good stuff. Either Schofield or McKenzie could do anything. McKenzie letting the umpire know perhaps that he got blocked. Sorry, Eric, I'm not interested in the late news. Here's the shot, the probability 46%, so the odds against him on the stats taken since 2003 from this position. That won't be in his head now, though. And the odds prove a good guide. It's out on the full.
Do the odds change a little bit because it's a derby?
I'm not sure, Jared. In fact, I probably doubt it. Dean Cox sends it up to the wing. Lynch in mind. Bradley's there with him. And it's over and out.
Important couple of minutes for the West Coast Eagles. This next 5, they need to put some scoreboard pressure. Jared, that dark cloud's come over the 3-tier stand, and it's just starting to rain.
Well, 1 goal, Jacko, at the halfway point of the second quarter. Not much return for the Eagles. Kerr racks up his 18th disposal. And now Prittis, after receiving from Shuey.
Andrew Gaff's the one for me. He's just having a rest down there with you at the moment, Jacko. 214 metres gained. He's their player that gets the meterage. He's their runner, the old-style wingman. Being well clamped in terms of effectiveness and creating scores. He normally does end his possessions in a chain that scores. Today, that hasn't been cited.
Shuey, you see Hams get some work done. Shuey very unhappy. It looked like Crowley was grabbing his hand, and the umpire just didn't see it. Pearce away. Pavlich turned Mackenzie inside out, and there's the result. Pavlich has 3, and there's purple everywhere at Patersons.
Well, that was goal. I think it was Clancy Pearce who got the ball taken away from the tap. We'll have another look at it. Once again, though, it was a beautiful kick. It was a well-weighted kick. Here's the tap. Nobody was guarding Clancy. And just a magnificent piece of positioning. Well, it was probably gifted by the goal, by the kick. And Pearce has now set it up for Matthew Pavlich a couple of times. Brilliantly weighted kicks.
Fremantle's lead 26. Matthew Pavlich, 3 goals. That's his 50th for the season. And Drew Petrie, with 5 goals today, has nudged in front of Lance Franklin. But Matthew Pavlich is coming, and coming hard. As the weather is as well, Jacko.
That last stoppage, I mean, Kepler Bradley won't get a stat, won't get recognised by the crowd, but Ross Lyon and his teammates will, because they are not giving Cox and Natanui any room here, Griffin and Bradley. They are mauling them in the ruck contest.
Oh, speaking of being mauled, Butler felt the full force there of the Fremantle aggression. Hills on top, scrapping hard. Griffin, Pearce, eventually to Spur. And sends it out to the wing, and it's out of bounds. Spur originally from Redland in Brisbane, when not drafted as an 18-year-old. He went to the SANFL.
Just having a look at those scores from stoppages, Jared. Fremantle 3-1-19 to West Coast 2 points. They've been the second best team in the competition, the Eagles, at scoring from stoppages. The Fremantle Dockers 13th, so that's a massive win.
They're also one of the worst though at getting scored against, and that's what's hurting them at the present time. I think what's interesting at the moment is this matchup on Daniel Kerr with Stephen Hill.
There's a bit of relief, much needed for Adam Selwood.
Daniel Kerr continues to rack up the stats, getting the ball from inside, and he's whipping it out, setting up his teammates, but they've got such a cage around these stoppages, the Dockers. There isn't a lot of damage being done from his handballs, but when Hill gets the ball, you mentioned meterage game.
Yep.
He is one of the more damaging players.
Walters and Main both had a look at it. It's not out yet. Now it is.
Well, you're right, Jared. You look at Daniel Kerr, he's had 19 disposals for 92 metres gain and just the 1 score involvement, whereas Hill, with his 6 disposals, is nearly close to 200 metres and 2 score involvement. So the damage is the contrast.
Schofield, Main. That's been all Fremantle in the last 10 minutes or so. They'll lead out to 26 now. And the rain coming down the task, getting harder by the minute. Fife. And Adam Selwood is a very busy man at the moment.
And that ball just kept on floating, Jacko. That wind has certainly kept on coming up.
Yeah, it is that south to westerly breeze out at that pocket. Jared does carry. If you can get it up in the air, it will carry to the goal square.
Which means the next 8 minutes is very, very important. Fremantle could post almost a match-winning lead if they can continue to build. Oh, that not paid. Barlow back for Griffin. He's got some more support behind. They'll need it. Spur reacted well. Clancy Pearce goes short to the factor. Kepler Bradley takes the mark on the wing.
Well, often people will say you've got to go and play wet weather football, but when you're only kicking the ball, when you're kicking the ball 4 times more than you're handballing, you're already doing it.
Don't change a thing. Griffin, he does as well.
This could bounce all the way.
Well, they'll be dictated by the bounce, and the bounce was very good.
Great defence. In the end, it was magnificent defence. This is going to be tight.
Eric.
Well played, Eric.
Hearn to bring it back in. Cox was the target. It drops short into that wind again. And it's over the line and out of bounds.
12-3, the inside 50s for this term. But they are just dominating here, the Fremantle Dockers. As you can see, in the background there. They just need to make sure this goes on the scoreboard. 28 points is a big lead, but gee, they're not really cashing in at the moment.
They faded late last week too, the Dockers, so they've got to get these pressure and get the result for their work, as you said.
Seven minutes remaining now. Cox slapping it forward. Mundy. Ballantyne made it his own and then lost his footing at the crucial moment. Life pretty difficult out there in these conditions. Mzungu, it's out the back. Selwood, hurried kick Marston the best he could manage. Up for grabs on the wing. They can get it to ground. It should be all Fremantle. They had the ground crew. Spur over the try line. It's out of bounds.
Always a great indicator, Jared. Just the numbers that get to a contest. Any loose ball, any ball just wide of a contest. At the moment, Fremantle just simply working harder to support than the Eagles.
And Griffin doing a pretty good job neutralising the many times All-Australian ruckman.
Barlow straight into Marston. Shuey out the back door. Again, just nothing working for West Coast. Barlow,
Numbers.
Ballantyne, good smother Hearn. Reinforcements required. Mundy backed it forward. Crowley in front of Shuey. Rolls reversed there as the tackle was put on by Shuey. Pearce took the chance to crunch on in on Schofield and getting plenty of encouragement from this Fremantle crowd.
Not a lot of time and energy being put into guarding Michael Barlow around these stoppages. This time he's been pushed forward by Chris Mayne.
Okay, the arms are part of the rock. Just wait. He's not off it. Is there a replacement on? Replacement on? Yes, all clear.
So it's interesting. I mean, that contact must have been high. Cox brings it to the feet. Crowley felt it from Waters. Mzungu didn't force the handball in. He had to give it up in the end. Prentice, McGinnity, they slide forward. Johnson was able to work his way off Lynch. He read it well, but he didn't execute. Lynch back towards the square. McPhee has prime position and taking no chances.
Well, that's that slippery ball. It's a bit heavier now. Michael Johnson needed to keep his eyes on the ball for a hell of a lot longer. That was nearly a fatal blow, which would have cost him a lot of momentum.
Astonishing numbers there for the time inside the forward half for the last 10 minutes.
Josh Hill just had to be better in that contest with McPhee. As a forward, you're not going to get many opportunities. Make the most of them.
Cox and Bradley entwine. Mzungu, they break. Pavlich was the target. It gets there eventually. Barlow again has to change direction. Pavlich waited. Here's Fife. Gave it plenty. It's a bit of a missed kick, but it could be fortuitous. Ballantyne was the first to read it. Time and space on his side. De Boer the long target. Hearn, sizable body. De Boer did well to get goal side. If it had have crept over the back, it was all his. Not to be, at least not yet. And now they can reset positions with 5 minutes left on the clock.
It's a big lead, Kingy, but it's probably not big enough for the dominance that they have had. Just a number of opportunities have gone astray like that one. It is wet weather. I've got to give the players a little bit of a break, but they need to hit more targets.
Bradley, Hill, touched.
Oh, late call.
I think it was just late communicated. I think he called it straight away.
13 inside 50s for 2 goals, 4 in this term. Given the conditions, it's maybe not a bad return, but what they're conceding at the other end is just first class. 3 behinds for the term for the West Coast, and they don't look like scoring at this stage.
Well, they can't penetrate. I mean, it's a reverse of the Dockers problem in the first quarter.
Marston to half forward to Prudis.
Tackle, you don't bump.
He buffeted himself away. Kepler, Bradley, Hill, and they can burst, and they do, and no one does it much better than this guy. Hill to full forward where it's vacant. I'm not sure if he was shooting for goal. I think he was probably passing to Griffin.
I think they'll take it though. I mean, here is I guess the embodiment of what we're talking about. The danger of Hill from the stoppage versus the danger of Kerr, who is getting it and handballing rather than breaking.
Mundy. Fife was out the back. Never got there. Selwood and his Kerr again. More treatment.
Maybe they're getting away with that matchup at the moment, Jerry, because the game is being played in Fremantle's forward half, and Kerr hasn't been able to impact the game in terms of a score sense just yet.
20 disposals for Kerr. 5 for Mundy, missed the moment. Prentice had to get back on the left and found it difficult, too difficult. Johnson, Duffield.
Good positioning here from Gaff.
He's done it pretty well, hasn't he, really, Gaff?
50 metres.
He's been prepared to work hard back into defence. And
Here's an opportunity now, Hutto.
Yep.
A really bad mistake by the Dockers, and Gaff comes up with an opportunity to get some players behind him to run hard and run forward to the fall of this ball.
Schofield's the man. Let's see if they can exploit it. Takes it just beyond the centre. Goes searching, goes short, and that's okay. Darling takes it. Now, Lynch, the short option. He's going to go long. Goes for broke with a bit of an inside-out job to full forward. Thumped away. McGinnity working overtime. And it's just a behind. Just a minor.
Their work rate back, the Dockers, was terrific for the first 50 minutes. Just that last entry there when Gaff was paid the 50 metre, they didn't get back as quick as what they had the previous 2 or 3. Just wonder if there's any signs that maybe this is a little bit taxing late in the second term.
No doubt exhausting quarter for them, the effort they've put in. Haven't quite capitalised, so they'd be happy to be 5 goals up at half-time if they can maintain it or just build a little from here. Waters, Scott Selwood starts to open up a bit. Gaff engineered a lovely little pass through to Lynch. On a fine day, he'd be half a chance from there. He kicks it up into the wind. And it was helped through for a behind. Not great odds, really.
It wasn't, but Kingy's point was borne out only seconds after he said it. That contest on the wing, Main not going as hard as we've seen him, allowing Waters and co to get the ball back and set up another scoring shot. They've got to hold on here, the Dockers, if they're going to maintain this pretty comfortable lead in the half-time.
Pierce angles the kick to the wing. Natanui came late. Free kick to Bradley.
Against Brown, that left arm around Kepler's waist, just didn't have to do it.
We're down to 2 minutes 12. Bradley to the wing. Valentine up against the big blokes. Natanui. Mundy.
Natanui didn't have the ball.
The crowd expressing their dismay collectively there at the free kick. Oh, now Kurt. It's been reversed.
Yeah.
Against Brown, just off the border to ball.
Well, nearly 50 there.
Yeah, it was lucky that the long throw went straight to the man who thought it was deemed for. A minute 50 now. Mundy works the angles. Pavlich in front, stationary. And he's up now, though. Sliding in. Took the footy with him. Hard for both sides. Fife hasn't been his day so far. Second up. Started to win the ball in this quarter, but hasn't really had a big influence.
Doesn't look like he's got the legs at the present time, the strength of the legs to burst away. He's really fatigued.
Do you think he's worth a look at full forward at some stage, Gerard? Fife? Just in the Martin Cochin sort of mould when we watched the Tigers, even a Bartel. Last night we saw him spend some time at full forward.
I don't think it'd hurt. I think the only thing stopping them is that Pavlich has had such a dream run at this stage. They're reluctant to put him in the middle.
Well, you mentioned last night, and the result last night, hasn't it opened things up? And if Fremantle were to win today, it would open it up even more. Maybe close a door or two also. Fife off the left. Barlow back to the wing. Hams. Schofield all patched up. Mundy. Skippity skip there through. McPhee was out. He could have gone instead. Goes for Pavlich. One. Not. Oh, he's been paid a free. Interesting call.
I think therein lies the reason why they're keeping him there at the moment. One-on-one. He's just got his opponent beaten. This time with the assistance of the umpire.
Yeah.
Against Eric McKenzie. Pavlich lining up for 4. In a game where there's been only 7 goals kicked, and there's the reason for the free.
It's a vital kick, this one. This one, he's just got to find this one home.
And he's been able to kick some clutch goals this season, Matthew Pavlich. None bigger than that. That is through, and they lead by 5 goals, and then a little more.
Rain falling. Eagles are probably winning that inside ball with Daniel Kerr's dominance, but they're getting slaughtered on the outside.
Just watch this chase here, Joe. I reckon we laud Nick Naitanui when he does his little pieces of magic, but just as a couple of chases here, just un-Naitanui like. You can just see the next bit of play that comes. No, we just missed it there, but we'll show it in a moment. Just not good enough for Nick.
King, you raise a good point there with Nick Nat, but it's not only him. There was about 3 players that were there at the contest, and David Mundy just broke away from him with too much ease.
Eagle leading goal kicker in the competition now, Matthew Pavlich. Crash out of the middle, Selwood.
Scotty, if you throw your head back, I can't pay a free. Good. Really well done. It's here. Free kick to Fremantle. Yes.
Well, that's one to comment on a little more.
You know what for, Scotty?
I'd like to have a look at the replay because he was given a nice old whack with a tackle. I'm not sure he threw his head back.
Fife drives it deep into the 50. I mean, if you do get collected high, that probably is natural to throw the head back. But I guess that's the difficulty that the umpires now face, isn't it? As the siren sounds. And here's a replay.
Well, he certainly got taken on the chin with the shoulder.
But he did duck the shoulder, didn't he?
Yeah, but the umpire said he threw the head back. His name was Smith and not Selwood. I think it might have been a different result. And I saw one last night in the Geelong game. I reckon the skipper was stiff as well. They're going to change their name by Depop.
Fremantle lead by 5 goals.